we have a look at what this means for learners in practice, when, for example, teaching and learning switches to English, it's as if everyone is forced into an English-only zone. You know, the other languages are not welcomed, as it were, or permitted. And for me, that's a little bit like, you know, asking the learners to tie one hand behind their back, so to speak. We're not making use of all the language resources which are there to promote learning, whether that's learning of English or learning other subjects through English. So that, for me, is quite a limitation. When we talk with educational officials and ask them, you know, we probe a little to find out why it is that they prefer to have an English-only classroom with policy. These are some of the reasons. These are some of the common reasons which we're given, and I don't know to what extent some of this may actually resonate in your situations. I'd be interested to know to what extent teachers, you as an English teacher or teacher of another subject, you feel that you actually have a license, that you're allowed to use the other languages in the classroom to promote learning and understanding. Here in parts of sub-Saharan Africa, teachers don't feel that they are permitted to do that. Of course, in many cases they actually do, but they don't feel comfortable. They feel as though they're infringing the rule or the regulation. And often, of course, it's not actually written down. It's just an accepted, you know, an unstated policy, as it were. Now, so what does that actually mean then to you know, to enforce these monolingual classroom policies? It puts this very heavy burden on English and everything through English, and I think that that's quite a nice sort of well, I hope you'll agree that that's an interesting sort of visual to represent that burden or the enormity of the challenge given to learners in not being allowed, you know, to use their own languages to support learning another language or learning another subject.